Hello, how you guys doing? This is Time with Chaplain Kenneth. I'm your host, Chaplain Ken. I'm glad that you're with me today. Today we're still going through the book, assuming they don't want to anything in return is the chapter we're looking at. We're going through this book here, How to Get Out of Your Own Way. It's about self-defeating behaviors. The author is Mark Goldston and Philip Goldberg. So we're doing chapter 9 today. I know this is a quick turnaround. I just posted one earlier about let's see, what holding a grudge. I hope you guys check that out, and the other ones that are on the playlist as well. So check out the rest of Time with Chaplain Ken. You can find me on Facebook and Rumble and YouTube. I'm trying to remember. And LinkedIn. Yeah, those things. I don't know about Getter and the other ones. There are other ones that are out there, but it's a pain to try to upload and download all these different things. So maybe I'll just pick one someday and just stick with that. But at any rate, that's where you can find me. So again, we're looking at this book as it's all about self-defeating behaviors and what we do to hurt ourselves in the long run. And so today we're going to be looking at the idea of assuming that they don't want anything in return. And the authors write out a story about this lady named Hillary. She was going to her graduate studies to be a psychologist, and she had to take a sabbatical to earn money and take courses here and there. And her relatives made some money on business and said, here, take this money, finish your school. And she says, I'll pay you back. And the family, and of course I'm ad-libbing, family said, no, all we want is that you complete your studies. That'll be payment enough. How many of you guys have ever received a donation like that or a gift like that, and the answer was, no, I don't want any payback. Just do whatever it is that you need to do, and we'll be happy. Some of us probably have. Used to work in drug treatment, and some of the patients would come from various backgrounds, and some of them had resources, and ethically we were bound to not receive any kind of gifts from our patients because, boy, you can make a killing, and it could be very unethical too, and get yourself in lots of trouble. I've been offered flights to anywhere. I've been offered flights to go hunting up in Wisconsin. I've been offered all sorts of opportunities that normally I would never have, and I'd have to sit there and tell them, no, just stay sober and mean it and be okay with it. But I'm not going to lie to you. There was a part of me who was like, ugh. Yeah, because some of that stuff was really cool, and it could have been a lot of fun. But yeah, ethically, I was ethically bound to say no and be okay with it. And I really was. But there was that little bitty part of me going, man, that's a tightrope to walk. Ethics is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And so, yeah, it was important to me that I stayed ethical. So for some, perhaps maybe there are some that have done something for somebody and you didn't expect anything in return. And that's a good thing if you can do that. However, assuming that they don't want anything in return could be a self-defeating behavior. For instance, this lady, she went to school, but she ended up paying in the long run in different ways. And you probably have your own scenarios. She would often have to go to family gatherings and remark on how gracious so-and-so was, their family members were, to help pay her schooling. And of course, after she was done with her schooling, the phone calls came and she had to give free therapy. And she says in the book, I like what she says, if I had known what was expected of me, I would have taken out a bank loan. Because, she expected them to be true to their word and say, they don't want anything. They said so. Kind of like when somebody says, let's go have dinner. If I'm inviting you, then I'm going to pay. Well, how many times can you do that? And be okay with it? Eventually you're going to say, you know what? I don't want to take advantage of the guy. And so you pay the next time you go out, no matter what. And so, you have those opportunities. And we'll get into what we do whenever we're approached with something like this. So it says in the book, Hillary discovered the emotional equivalent of there's no such thing as a free lunch. Consciously or unconsciously, nearly everyone keeps score of favors and gestures, and everyone is sensitive to being shortchanged. So even though you hear the word, no, 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 just have a good time with whatever we're doing for you. We don't expect anything in return. Usually that's not true according to the author. Almost kind of a shadow of cynicism there, but you know what? I have to kind of agree. Very rarely are we very perfectly altruistic. And if we're doing something with no expectation of return, if we go around saying, well, I don't expect anything, look what I did this for so-and-so, yeah, you're getting something out of it. Your payoff is that you get the bragging rights of helping somebody out. That's not altruistic, because you don't expect any return. Any. I think in very rare circles do you find that. Very rare circles. Finding that there's a grace that's bestowed upon us without any expectation of return. I think God is the only one that can do that, because He bestows grace upon us whether we deserve it or not. Of course, He wants us to turn our hearts over to Him, but He does it without any kind of strings attached. Not like we do. We have strings attached. All sorts of strings attached. And if we do this, if this happens to us too much, we end up with that don't do me any favors kind of attitude. When people try to help us out and they have ulterior motives, we can generally spot it and look at it and get cynical about it and get negative with people about it. So they also say that when you accept someone's generosity, you might take a debt you don't even know you owe. And if you fail to pay it back, you'll be punished for reasons you cannot comprehend. And usually it sours relationships. They'll treat you differently. They'll look at you differently. They'll be subtle. They'll be passive-aggressive in what they say. They'll drop little hints and cues for you to pick up that they're displeased that you haven't paid them back in some sort of way. And so they suggest that, number one, you should assume that a payback is expected. Even if the words, no, I don't want anything in return, even if you hear those words, it's always wise to assume that a payback is expected. And you can confirm this by saying to the giver, I hope I'm in a position to do the same for you sometime. And if you do, yeah, follow through. So imagine what a fair payback would be and get ready to follow through just in case. So assuming they're really not going to expect anything in return, expect that they will. Okay, it's kind of like short-circuiting the setup. Because when you accept something with the promise, oh no, I don't want anything in return, it's almost like a setup. So if it's not an actual setup, try to determine how you're going to repay the debt or repay the gift. And then they suggest try to determine on the outset whether the act is a gift or a loan. Each carries with it a different obligation. A gift requires at least a thank you. A favor requires a similar action in return. When your position's reversed, a loan requires payment. Somebody owes you, gives you money, and say, "Don't worry about it, pay it back." Good idea, pay it back. Don't have anything hanging over you. Yeah, because if you do that too much, people are there's people that are out there that'll take advantage of that and enslave you in some way or another. It's like putting shackles on yourself, and you have all these expectations all over you, and it can burden you. So be careful. Pay back when you can quickly, so you can get that monkey off your back and be done with it. And then number 3, they also suggest those distinctions are equally important when you're the giver. Don't kid yourself into thinking that you're a saint who gives to others and wants nothing in return. Pretty cynical. A shadow of cynicism in there. But you know what? There's a shadow of reality in it as well. Yeah. Check yourself, they say, before you can probably finish the statement, before you wreck yourself. So the usable insight is there are always strings attached to things when people do things for you. They may say that they don't expect anything, but you know what? It's often nice to do it anyway, repay them anyway, so that they can feel good about it. I'm not being used or taken advantage of, and so things can work out well for you. So in taking action, assume that people always give with the expectation of receiving something in return, and don't become embittered by this realization. It's just the way it is. It's the way human nature is. Very rarely are we that altruistic. Determine whether the gesture is a gift, a favor, or a loan, and then return appropriately. If it's a gift, be sure to express your gratitude. Perhaps find an occasion to offer a reciprocal gift or display of thoughtfulness. If it's a favor, make a mental note to offer a favor in return. If it's a loan, pay it back. Make sense? So by doing that, you don't set yourself up for disappointment. You don't set yourself up for gossip. You don't set yourself up for, having your hopes and dream that there is somebody out there that can do something for you and doesn't expect anything in return. I think the only person I can do that with is God. He loves me unconditionally. There's no strings attached. And because that kind of love is displayed to me, I return that love in kind. If that's the payback he wants, then okay, I can live with that because it's a fantastic relationship. But if you're with the human relationships and you're looking at it, consider these things so that you don't set yourself up for disappointments or grudges, like we just learned, and your life can get a whole lot easier. And you'll be seen as a classy person. Okay? So there's your payback. All right. That's all I got for you tonight. I hope it helped you. Don't forget to check the rest of my videos that I've put on these different platforms. And give me your comments. Let me know what you think. And you take care of yourself. God bless you. And pay attention to yourselves. All right? Take care.